Today, I'm going to hilariously recount the horror movie Outside. Beware of spoilers, and zombies. Both bite. The movie starts in the Philippines, where major cities have gone full zombie apocalypse. Meet our protagonist, Francis Abel, who's running from Manila with his wife, Iris, and their 2 kids, Josh and Lucas. Think of it as a very unrelaxing family road trip. They stumble upon an abandoned house, which is obviously not creepy at all. Spoiler, it is. Armed with a pipe, because why not, Francis ventures inside like the world's least equipped Ghostbuster. Upstairs, he finds a dead man who's apparently done with life and a gun conveniently lying around. It's a 2-for-1 tragedy sale. After looting the poor guy's gun and wristwatch priorities, Francis steps outside only to face a zombie lady. Surprise! That's his mom. And the dead guy upstairs? His dad. Welcome home, Francis. Cue zombie mom attack, a quick sorry not sorry gunshot, and a cornfield burial. Nothing says family reunion like a horror movie funeral. Later, the Abels settle in for the night, but Francis pulls an all-nighter on guard duty because who could sleep after that? In the morning, he checks the water supply, because hydration is key, even during the zombie apocalypse. Iris isn't thrilled about their new real estate choice, but hey, it's free, right? Francis drags his eldest, Josh, to another nearby house for supplies. There, they find a radio, flashlight, and some chicken. Jackpot. Oh, and a dead guy hanging from the roof. Not jackpot. Josh gets the unenviable job of fetching keys from the corpse's belt. But gravity has other plans, and the body falls on him. Oops. Francis doesn't help. He's all about tough love. Parenting win? Debatable. Back at home, Iris takes Francis to the basement, where they find a generator and some major childhood trauma. Turns out, Francis' dad was more of a tyrant than a dad, and the basement holds bad memories. But hey, they still need that generator running. Dinner drama ensues when Iris suggests heading north to safety, but Francis pulls the "it's safer here" card. Spoiler, it's not. The next day, Josh accidentally spills the tea that Iris talked to Francis' estranged brother, Diego. This enrages Francis, who almost drives into a roadblock in his anger. Classic zombie apocalypse road rage. Iris, ever the action hero, tries clearing the barricade but attracts a zombie soldier. Francis saves her with a dramatic gunshot, and together they fend off a zombie horde. Highlights include Francis parkouring over cars and tossing a grenade like a champ. 2 weeks later, Francis lies about the van being broken to keep the family at his ancestral house. He distracts them with electricity, air conditioning, and tunes. Bribery works, folks. Things take a turn when a rogue dog eats their chickens and gives Francis a nasty bite. Rabies, anyone? Iris wants to find a hospital, but Francis stubbornly insists on staying. Meanwhile, Josh hears a camp message on the radio, and the family argues about leaving. Francis is firmly team stay. In a classic father-son bonding moment, Francis teaches Josh how to use a gun. Because nothing says family fun like target practice during the apocalypse. Francis's paranoia reaches a boiling point when he notices Josh is missing. His frantic search leads him to Josh's unlocked bedroom, confirming his worst fear. Josh has slipped away to seek Diego or the northern camp. Consumed by rage and a growing sense of betrayal, Francis storms into the kitchen and lashes out violently, striking Corcura in the head with a hammer. The brutal act horrifies Iris and Lucas, leaving the soldier dead on the dining table, his blood seeping into their last semblance of normalcy. Francis's grip on reality continues to unravel. He locks Iris and Lucas in the basement, determined to exert total control. While he spirals into madness, haunted by memories of his abusive father, Iris and Lucas quietly plot their escape. Francis's behavior becomes increasingly erratic. He kills the family dog for eating his chickens and serves its meat to Iris and Lucas, who refuse to touch it. Enraged, Francis smashes the plate and begins ranting about his own childhood punishments, revealing the roots of his twisted psyche. Late one night, Iris seizes the opportunity to act. She smashes Francis over the head with a piece of furniture, knocking him out temporarily. With Lucas in tow, she escapes the basement and rushes to gather supplies. Their freedom is short-lived, as a zombified Diego suddenly appears, blocking their path. Diego grabs Iris, but Lucas's intervention distracts him, putting the boy in danger. Just as all hope seems lost, Francis reemerges, fighting off Diego and ultimately killing him. However, in the process, Diego bites Lucas, sealing the child's grim fate. Faced with the devastating reality, Iris and Francis grapple with their next move. Iris, in desperation, prepares to amputate Lucas's arm to stop the infection. Francis, however, insists on finding medical help and retrieves their van from a nearby bridge. The reunion at the bridge takes a tragic turn. Josh, armed with a gun scavenged from the soldiers' convoy, mistakes Francis, still wearing the bloodied military uniform, for a zombie. Acting out of fear, Josh shoots his father. As Francis lies dying, he forgives Josh, assuring him that he has always seen him as his son. He urges Josh to use the van to save Iris and Lucas, offering one final act of redemption. The film concludes with Josh driving back to the farmhouse, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos, as Iris watches from the doorway, her expression a mixture of relief and sorrow. When Francis discovers Josh has left the house, his fury knows no bounds. His sense of control, already fragile, is shattered. He grabs a hammer in a blind rage, returns to the kitchen, and strikes Corcura in the head. The brutal act horrifies the remaining family members, as the soldier's lifeless body collapses onto the dining table. Francis's violent outburst is a terrifying escalation, further solidifying his descent into madness. Francis turns his anger toward Iris, knocking her unconscious with a vicious blow. When she regains consciousness, she finds herself locked in the basement with her younger son, Lucas. The dim, confined space becomes a grim prison for the two, as Francis's delusions and paranoia take full control. He begins devising twisted plans to maintain his authority and protect his family. Francis's actions grow darker. In a disturbing scene, he kills their dog, cooks its meat, and brings it to the basement, forcing Iris and Lucas to eat. When they refuse, he angrily smashes the plate on the floor, launching into a tirade about his childhood. He reveals that his father used to punish him if he didn't finish his meals, exposing the deep scars of his upbringing. This moment underscores the cyclical nature of trauma, as Francis unwittingly mirrors the very abuse he once endured. Desperate to escape, Iris and Lucas plot their way out. They wait for Francis to fall asleep, seizing the opportunity to execute their plan. However, Francis is awakened by Lucas's screams, and he rushes to the basement. As soon as he enters, Iris strikes him with a piece of furniture, temporarily knocking him out. She grabs the keys from his pocket, and she and Lucas finally escape the oppressive confines of the basement. Francis eventually regains consciousness and tries to chase after them, but his pursuit leads him back to the basement. Here, he experiences haunting flashbacks of his own father locking him in as punishment. The memories overwhelm him, leaving him disoriented and momentarily incapacitated. Meanwhile, Iris and Lucas gather what supplies they can and attempt to flee the house. As they step outside, they are confronted by a zombified Diego. The terrifying sight forces them to retreat inside, but Diego grabs Iris's leg, pulling her to the ground. Lucas bravely tries to intervene, but Diego shifts his attack toward the boy. In a critical moment, Francis bursts out of the basement and fights off Diego, ultimately killing the zombie. However, the victory comes at a devastating cost. Diego manages to bite Lucas on the hand before being killed. The family is faced with a horrifying choice: amputate Lucas's arm to stop the infection or let him transform into a zombie. Iris, overwhelmed with emotion, prepares for the amputation. Francis, however, interjects and insists they find another solution. He declares that they must take Lucas to the nearest medical center, offering a sliver of hope. Francis sets off for the bridge where he had hidden their van. At the same time, Josh is wandering the same area, armed with a gun he scavenged from the remains of a soldier zombie. When Francis approaches, wearing Corcora's bloodied military uniform, Josh mistakes him for a zombie. In a panic, he fires the gun, hitting Francis. The tragic mistake dawns on Josh as Francis collapses. Overcome with guilt, Josh rushes to his father's side, pleading for forgiveness. Through his pain, Francis reassures Josh, telling him that he has always seen him as his true son. In his final moments, Francis hands Josh the van keys and instructs him to save Iris and Lucas. Francis succumbs to his injuries, but his sacrifice is not in vain. Josh drives the van back to the house, fulfilling his father's dying wish. The final scene shows Iris watching the van approach, her face a mix of relief and sorrow. The fate of the family remains uncertain, but they are given a second chance at survival, carrying the weight of their losses and the hope of a future beyond the horrors they've endured.